I didn't want to kill you guys. It was getting too long.
If you've seen the Volvo video on my page, the little Volvo mini doc that I did with a couple of kids that I met on Instagram, if you've seen that video, you've seen my buddy Taylor, the kid with the dreads. He had the white wagon. He also had the red Volvo wagon that was in the accident. That red wagon had an LS motor in it, and he took the motor that was from that wagon. You can actually see it in the interview. It's behind him for the sit-down interview. But he took that LS motor and he put it into the white wagon. So when I was home for Christmas break, I was back in Jersey and I met up with him and I wanted to shoot a little recap because he's done a bunch of stuff to this white wagon. He put the LS motor in and he did a bunch of suspension work. He made a triangulated 4-point suspension system. I have no idea what it means, but Taylor did a lot to this car. It's a dope wagon. I mean, it sounds sick, the suspension's dope, and the amount of hours that he put into it is wild. So I wanted to make a video about, you know, an updated video about everything that he did, and yeah, here it is.
It was supposed to just be a standard swap, and then next thing I know, I'm buying airbag parts and swapping rear ends. This was the motor that I bought from '02 Camaro that was put in my first Volvo. So the whole motor and trans got swapped. I had the motor mounts made, I had headers made, I had a trans mount made, so there's a couple things. A lot of the hard part was done already, all the thinking. It's got the hot cam in it now, which is like a standard GM factory. Nothing like super aggressive, like what would be in a Z06 or a Corvette compared to what was in the pickup truck, you know. New fuel rails, new water pump, a bunch of all the front accessories were all either cracked or seized after the accident. So I just replaced all that, welded a little bit of the valve cover back together. And besides that, everything was pretty much ready to go again. So I had the motor in probably, I'd say in under 2 months, I had the engine bay shaved, painted it right here in this spot, did all the welding, all the Bondo work, all the paint work, all myself. And once the motor was in, I cut the whole floor out. So I had to do the rear. I needed dry shaft clearance because the car was so low with the airbags. I didn't think about all that work that was about to be happening to the back of the car. So now it's got the full aluminum floor pan, and all that was done at my buddy's shop. That would have been tough to do in here. No, I'd say my favorite part is that the car looks like it's just a Volvo. It's not extremely loud when you're chilling. It does have side pipes, so it gets a little rowdy, but that it looks like a regular just stance car just trying to look good, and the thing is like full race car underneath the metal. Like, it's front tube chassis, rear tube chassis, you know, no back seats, full aluminum floor, like floor pan. Like, the thing definitely means business and kind of looks like junk. I also like that the car is comfortable. You could start it in any weather. You could almost drive it anywhere. Like, it's still like a daily drivable car. Like, as you can see, the thing's super dirty. Like, it's not a garage kept car. Like, you could drive this thing anywhere, any day. And most full builds don't go to that extent because there's certain things that you got to really hold back on to go full race car. So I try to really blend the two worlds of race car and Honda Civic. And everyone's into it. Like, people who I don't think anyone who's into any type of car could have respect for something that someone built, you know, by themselves and doesn't look like every other car that they see at car shows. Like, that's what's cool about it, is that anyone who likes cars likes this car. You know, it's not categorized as anything. They think, like, everyone likes a station wagon. If you don't like a station wagon, something wrong with you. see if I'm in the right spot. A while ago. Like it just has like, you know, newer shit that already looks like it's old, which is nice. But this was like somewhat of a challenge. Making exhaust is always a challenge. Got the homemade ovaled exhaust. But this is where like all the big stuff is going on. Like created almost a new, you know, cross member here for the four-link. Because the stock suspension was a pan arm bar with like torsion rods and whatnot. So the only way to put this new rear in was I pretty much had to make new frame rails. Plate all up here, made it triangulated, and it was just really a bunch of just like measuring and measured for days just to make one weld. It was just so much thinking and calculation than doing that it was starting to get kind of crazy. But once all that was done, after like 3 days of drawing and all this angle finding, once everything started getting put together, it was just welding it all together, you know. There's plenty of people who do this in drag cars, so there's a lot of information. It was just making a solid spot to mount all this to actually have a real cross member in a unibody car, because unibody cars are, you know, not the strongest structurally. So I had to make all new body mounts. So the whole rear is mounted on non-factory suspension points, which is, you gotta think when you're doing that, because, you know, one thing's off, you're gonna break something in half and not even realize it. There's another cross member, a tube member up here for the shock mounts that's been plated and gusseted to the body. But this will be a bulletproof rear for the, you know, the power level for sure. And it's tubed a little bit back here for the fuel for the fuel cell and the air tank. I still need to make some sort of fuel bib under here to separate this, because I don't know exactly if that's really allowed.
Nah, I had a great time.
Per law, I don't really know the laws. Like, I don't think you're supposed to have your rear without a firewall. I think there needs to be a firewall in here. Well, it should be. Anyway. But this whole thing's been square channeled. The whole floor has a whole new, all this has all been rebuilt just for this aluminum floor. So the car will be able to air out all the way. So pretty much it's like a C-notch, like body chop like they do like in a pickup truck. Pretty much I did like a mini truck rear end setup with the 4-link and for the air ride and the C-notch. But it's all just Ford Explorer parts, shortened. It's got a shortened rear. That was the first time I ever did that. Cut a rear tube and weld it back together and hope that it sticks in one piece. But everything worked out pretty well. Longer brake lines just from like a lifted Explorer. Like if you lift your Explorer, you get longer brake lines. But I don't know, I put them under axle. I don't know if that's smart or... I had no choice. The car airs out all the way. I would have chopped them off on the body. So, like I said, it's the first time I ever did an air ride system. So I'm still learning. But I did a lot of research, and the thing rides pretty good, I think. I would say.
Gotta be in the hundreds, like I'd say probably close to 300 hours. It was 10 months solid, all day Saturday and Sunday, every day after work for 5 hours, 6 hours until 1 a.m. I haven't done the math, but it's gotta be. It's got to be in the hundreds for sure.
And now, is there more things that you still have to do to it, or is this kind of?
I gotta. It's the final. You know, it's almost there. I definitely need to tweak the suspension a little. I need to make some sort of lower, like, fuel bib under the fuel cell to protect that. I think that's just like a thing that you have to do for safety. I might cage it. I'm not quite sure. I don't really want to go that far with the car.
Because you want to keep it as a daily, right? So cage
Yeah.
just get in the way.
I need to make a carpet for the back, and that's about it. Like, she's almost there. I just need more seat time in it to really dial it in.
Yeah.
Still driving good.